Welcome to the NBA Clinic. Here, hosts Jonathan Curian and Sterling Mitchell take a deep dive and diagnose the current status on individual NBA teams. Caution, takes from here on will be hot, focused on championships and based on a gym rat mentality. If you are not about that shit, go turn on ESPN.
Honorable word.
Why you flexing, boy, you don't want no smoke. Why you flexing, boy, you don't want no smoke. Why you flexing, boy, you don't want no smoke. Why you flexing, boy, you don't want no smoke. Why you flexing, boy, you don't want no smoke. Why you flexing, boy, you don't want no smoke. Why you flexing, boy, you don't want no smoke. Why you flexing, boy, you don't want no smoke. Keep on posting these pictures, holding these scruffs, but you's a non-smoker. Nigga, you ain't no gun toter. Pussy, you ain't no real soldier. You ain't made your enemy had to buy his homeboy mama no black roses. Chopper knock your whole head.
Alright, for this episode, we're about to take ourselves up the coast, head over to Northern Cali, talk about the Sacremento Kings.
Guess we gotta start off with the mistake they made.
DeMarcus Cousins, man. DeMarcus Cousins is one of the best, either 10, maybe 5 players in the league, period.
I would put him up there. He's the best big man by far.
Definitely. And there's a lot of talented big men in the league right now. We're talking Giannis. We're talking his own teammate currently, Anthony Davis. We're talking Joel Embiid. There's some transcendent big men in the league right now, and I would still put Boogie Cousins on the top.
He's a guard with a big body. He would play guard if he was small, but his DNA just transformed into this big-ass dude. But he can still handle the rock. He can pass. He can shoot threes. He can take you in the post.
He literally can't do everything. I'm trying to think of a skill right now off the top of my head that he doesn't have to his game. He might have one of the most complete games, I think, in the league. Because the only thing I used to be able to dog him for was his three-point shooting ability. And he's been kind of hitting shots for the Pelicans. That's a topic for a different day. To bring it back, you had a franchise player, to say the least. Even if you were like hella cold on DeMarcus Cousins, you had a franchise player. And you traded him during the All-Star break. I remember they were like having a practice or something, and DeMarcus didn't even know. And literally, all these reporters are asking him about it, and he's like, what the fuck y'all even talking about? Like, you can see it on the look on his face, because they're asking him, like, yo, how do you think you're going to fit in with the Pelicans and stuff like that? And then his agent has to like walk through the line of the reporters and come up to his ear in the middle of the interview. And it was like, yeah, they're not fucking with you. You got traded.
They did him dirty. Didn't even give that man a call. At least he was already in New Orleans, though. He had to go far. He had far to go.
Yep.
But I feel like the Sacramento Kings, they was looking to get rid of him.
I don't know why you would. I think people are just sensitive about people who take the game emotionally and are like, who are really about hooping and stuff. I think when you put a player through like 5 or 6 head coaches damn near, you switch up the GMs, you switch up ownership. DeMarcus Cousins has been with the Sacramento Kings more than anybody else in the past 5 years. They switched owners, they switched GMs, they switched coaches. Like, they switched up everything under him multiple times, and he still came out and consistently gave you 20 and 10 and did it for the fans. And y'all just dogged this man.
He didn't have anybody either. He didn't put nothing around this man to help this man. So I don't know what you really expect.
Let's go back and look at the DeMarcus Cousins trade itself.
I ain't giving no DeMarcus Cousins up for no Buddy Hield like that.
That's pretty much what it came down to, though, which is so crazy.
Buddy's cold.
He like lukewarm. Like, he has the tendency to dip below, but I think he's got to play a little bit more to see what he's about.
I was high on him coming out of college, though. He was balling out. That's one thing that I do feel about the seniors that come out of college, that they kind of already transformed. Like, they kind of already almost fully developed. Their potential can't get too much higher, in my opinion.
I agree with that. Juniors and seniors kind of already hit where they can get to in terms of their development. So when they come to the league, if they're not popping off early, it's a steep uphill battle from there, and they usually get dropped off pretty quickly.
Because the way basketball is like set up now, like everybody knows who the ballers are. When they in that 7th and 8th grade, like they like, oh, this kid gonna be something. Like, so they watching it through then, like, so they know, like, by the time they get to college, it's one and done. Like, you come to the NBA next year just because of the rule. Because if that rule wasn't there, some of these kids, they just be like, nah, you going straight to the NBA. The NCAA, they be getting that free advertisement from the NCAA.
Yes, that's why they get paid so much. That's why That's why none of the rules has changed, because they know NCAA just is like such a huge feeder. Damn. Okay, so this is what it was. The Pelicans received DeMarcus Cousins and Omri Caspi, who's on the Warriors right now this season. And then the Pelicans gave up to the Kings Buddy Hield, Tyreek Evans, Langston Galloway, a first-round pick, and a second-round pick, where the first may or may not be protected. They lost that trade. I don't see any piece that can even make up.
They do got Buddy Hield. That was a nice addition, but it's still nothing like. And then Tyreek Evans, he was injury prone. Like,
yeah,
that was
like
a boom. I guess that was like the boomer bust of the trade. Like, because Tyreek Evans used to be a dog in college. In his first 2 years before he got hurt, he was balling.
Didn't he get Rookie of the Year under the Kings too? So maybe they were trying to rekindle some magic. That's banking a lot of that trade on Tyreek Evans just blossoming into some crazy player, which clearly was not going to be there.
Not on the roster anymore.
He got moved really quick.
Respect to him, though. Respect to him.
After this DeMarcus trade, everything kind of fell apart. They had a bunch of oldies on the team, Aaron Aflalo, Caron Butler. So they just decided from that point, all right, we got enough young talent that we might as well get the rebuild popping right now.
I like their picks from the last draft, definitely.
So yeah, going into their draft, they ended up getting De'Aaron Fox out of Kentucky. He's the number 4 pick, I believe. Crazy fast, really good ball handling skills. The only thing that was iffy in college was his ability to shoot the ball, which is definitely fair.
Poor man's John Wall, definitely. They both extremely quick. Like, I don't know who's standing in front of either one of them on a fast break.
He feels like a mini John Wall, or poor man's John Wall for sure.
Gotta build that strength that John Wall got. Like, he don't got the power and like explosiveness of John Wall yet, but like he in the NBA, they gonna develop him. They gonna get him right. Like them all-season workouts, he gonna come back faster, stronger.
Exactly. I think putting on the size, because he wants to play physical, but he's gonna get thrown around by like these huge giant men who've been playing professionally for so many years. So once he kind of stacks up his weight, this kid could be nice. I don't even know. I would say give him an off season, definitely for sure by 2 off seasons, but I'd say even his next year, I think you're gonna see a lot of improvement from De'Aaron Fox.
Going on to their next pick in the first round, we got Harry Giles, once a number 1 player in high school. Unfortunately, tore both of his ACLs. Took him a while to recover. He's still recovering now. But if you recall from other podcasts, I'm a big Duke fan, so I've seen this man play a good amount. And he could be special. He crashes the boards. Like I don't think he's ever going to be that all-star, but he's going to be that man who's going to be able to get you a double-double every game. Like he going to work hard, get boards, because that's what he do. And he got a nice little turnaround jumper, hook shot.
The only thing that I got a question mark on for him, and just remembering where he was picked at in the draft, that's a lot to bank on for 2 ACL injuries for a guy that big.
That's true. And he's a question mark on defense. Probably because of those knee injuries. He's not the best with the lateral quickness coming off the switches with the guards. So he's going to need to work on that. But he's only 19. He just need to make sure he put in this rehab work, get stronger, get his body right, and then put in this work. And I think he'll be a lot better.
Oh, we got Justin Jackson, of course, who's the 15th pick.
Man came off the championship winning team in college. The man was supposed to be a lot colder. When coming out of high school, he was a highly touted recruit. See, this is I'm a little biased. I don't see the upside that most people see for him. Like, he's good. He a shooter. I see him being like that Danny Green type. He can play D and he get to shoot. But other than that, I don't see him really being able to develop like off the dribble or like take you to the rack like whenever he wants. Yeah, he gonna be able to like fake a shot then take you to the rack and stuff like that. But I'll never see him as being an ISO player. But I definitely think he'll be a nice role player. He plays defense. You always need defense. And a shooter is always good in the NBA. You get around with a distributor like De'Aaron Fox, let him develop that distributing ability, and then you got Justin Jackson in the corner just knocking down threes. Like, that could be a nice asset.
I definitely believe that Justin Jackson is one of them system players. Like you said from before, Sterling, he always had the potential to be a great player, but it took him some time to develop in college. He'd always had a nice little jumper, but the times that we saw him thrive, especially on his championship run for UNC, it seemed like he had just mastered where in the system of offense he was supposed to play at. So I definitely think Justin Jackson's success is predicated on the system that they place around him and his ability to get his shots off at the right time. Currently, the way that they're playing right now, Justin Jackson isn't getting as many minutes as I would like to see him get. He's getting around 17 minutes as of right now in the beginning of January. I'd definitely like to see those get spiked up a little bit. The times that he's been able to get on the court, he's for sure been able to get off good shooting percentages for a rookie, you know, with a 32% from the three-point range, 39% from the field overall. So he's producing for the minutes that he's in, but I don't think 17 minutes is really going to cut it to see if he can develop into what he could be capable of. But like I said before, man, I definitely think it's predicated on the system that they want to play. If they can use a lot of brush screens that they used to in UNC, I think he could have a lot of potential to get open shots, knock them down.
A good part of this success of this team in the future will definitely be a case of the development of De'Aaron Fox. That means like they're going to put the most into him. They're going to want to see something in return.
That's the beauty of rebuilding. Once you get assets you feel like you can build around, you can go all in. Like we said from before, it's year one of a rebuild, and they're definitely getting it jump started with these draft picks that we just talked about. But another smart thing that the Kings did, which I was surprised about because the Kings usually in the past have had absolutely trash management, they did something smart for once, and they put around veterans that have showed you how to get it done, specifically in the grit and grind fashion. What do I mean by this? Damn near all the Sacramento Kings veterans are straight off of the Memphis Grizzlies from like 2 years ago. And I fuck with it. I fuck with it heavy.
True that. They got my man Zebo. Even though he almost got caught off this summer, but you know, he beat the case.
Hey man, shouts out Zebo for having a good time at that party, man. You know he was doing his thing, bro. It's the summer, kicking it with the homies, man. You might flip a dub for a dime.
This man might be the biggest goon in the NBA though. You see that? You see him tell Draymond Green, "Bullies get bullied."
Yeah, yeah. Yo, that shit was hilarious.
Bro, and he from Indiana, so I was like, "Hey, respect, bro. You know, hold it down." Yep. He went to Marion, Indiana. And this man, I love this man's game because he never been athletic really, but he just gets buckets.
He's going to body you, and once he's done bodying you and you think you're going to get bodied again, he'll hit you with a jumper just to remind you what fucking time it is.
He's like the best example of the old man's game in the NBA right now. He's not going to jump over you really. He's not going to just explode on you like with a burst of quickness or anything like that. But he's going to get rebounds and he's going to get buckets and you can't stop him.
He's not going to jump over you, but he's going to jump through you. So next time when you're back on this side of the court, you're going to fucking remember that because you're still feeling it. And that's what I respect about the old man's game that he's playing, man. He got a big body. And if not, if you get him 10 feet out and you try him at least, I'd say 11 to 15 feet out, he might hit a jumper on you.
Definitely one of my favorite players on this team for sure. Especially being from Indiana. That's what the local dudes.
Definitely. And for 36, he's still out here motherfucking balling, bro. Only on 25 minutes right now, but he's getting about 15 points. 50% from the field and still 33% from three-point range. He's still doing work, and he's 36 and big. So you got to understand, the older you get, the more steep the decline is.
He's never not produced in the season.
Consummate professional and is willing to take the lead role if you need him to go ahead and do that.
So next up, we got the high-flying Vince Carter.
My man Vince Carter is still out here.
At 40 years old.
At 40 years old. How?
I remember playing with that man on backyard basketball back in the day. This man inspired everybody to like get bunnies. The stuff we saw this man do back in the day is crazy.
He revolutionized dunking.
Yeah, I don't think most people know, like, this man was an all-star back in the day. Like,
he a Hall of Famer.
This man was cold. Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know if a lot of people know, like, the younger people, like, how good this man used to be. Hey, shouts out to that man, Vince Carter, man. He found the youth. He's still out here balling out here with the youngins.
At 40 years old, this man is still shooting above 35% from the fucking field. He doesn't play games at all, but the games that he does come in and play, actually, now that I'm looking at it, he hasn't really been playing that much. He got minutes during that Cavs game, but outside of that, he's just been silent. I'm talking like 0-minute games for most of the season.
Hey, he came in when he needed to come in. He showed out. Hey, they paying him $8 million. He getting his check, though. I'm taking that.
$8 million for 40 years old? Shit, they're most 32-year-olds in the league right now who can't get that paycheck.
That's all I'm saying. They're getting the veterans minimum right now. Next up, we got George Hill, the Naptown boy from the city. Even though, I'm not going to lie, I did not like him for the last few years.
I think he was cold in Utah. I think the end of his Pacers career was trash.
Yeah. I don't know if he ever really fit in that team to his full potential.
I'd say he plays as an atypical point guard. I don't think he's a regular point guard in that he's not really looking to give assists. He's one of those be open in the corner as a jump-up shooter. But when he was on the Utah Jazz, I think his jump shot was definitely way better. During his Pacers career, it was pretty trash.
Hey, but shouts out to his agent. This man picking up a $20 million check this year.
God damn.
Doing this thing. I'm not gonna lie, I never saw that man as a $20 million a year guy. But shouts out to him doing his thing, getting his check. I'm never hating on the hustle. You do your thing.
20 million this year, 19 million the next year, 18 million going into 2020. Do you think it was worth the value?
Yeah, I said this contract definitely overvalued, but they're not paying anybody anything else really, so they had the money. So that I could see how they would want another veteran guy, like especially with these young guards they got like De'Aaron Fox and Frank Mason, teach them just how to move in the NBA.
Still out here getting around 10 points. It's a usual George Hill season right now. You mentioned from before, Frank Mason III.
This man was killing it in college. I don't see all that magic transferring to the NBA. I definitely see him as a solid role player that can come off the bench, lead the offense, play defense, do all the right things. Unfortunately, I don't think he's ever going to be a star like he was in college. I can see him having a long career in the NBA. He's always going to work hard. Like, that's his thing. He puts in work. And sometimes, like, you can't stop this man from scoring at times.
Frank Mason III, to me, is the perfect example of what we were talking about before. A junior or senior player from college coming into the league where their ceiling is immediately lowered because they've already developed so much. He was a leader in Kansas. He showed other players how to get it done, how to play within a system, so I can definitely understand why the Kings wanted to pick him up. He definitely seems like a player that'll come off the bench, but when he comes off the bench, he'll make sure that he'll do the right things, like play defense really well and hold down the lead that you have, because the main thing for your bench, you don't want to give up a good lead, so you want your bench to at least maintain the score that you have or the pace of scoring that you have.
But I will say one thing about the man, he is a competitor. He's a true competitor. You could tell like that man just never wants to lose.
Outside of talking about Frank Mason, we got Garrett Temple.
See, I never really knew what this dude could do. Like, I watched him the last few years, back when he was on the Wizards, and I was never really sure what he was that good at. I just saw him as a role player, but I never really knew, like, what is this man like? What's his specialty?
Nah, he's just kind of one of them bigs. He's just one of those journeyman bigs. But he's out here getting $8 million, though. That's the one thing I do know. I think actually all the other forwards on this team are better than him now that I'm looking at it. Because you got Costa Kufos, you got Willie Cauley-Stein, you got, most importantly, Scal Labissiere, who probably could be the nicest forward out of all of these guys.
They got him listed as a shooting guard, what I'm looking at, but I definitely would say he was a small forward.
Yeah, I definitely think they put him in as a shooting guard now because all the league position definitions have changed. But for most of his career, he's for sure a small forward.
He's averaging 8 points a game. He's doing something. He's not worthless.
Yeah.
But yeah, $8 million might be a little overpaid.
He's good enough to be a journeyman in the league, which is saying a lot, frankly. I'm sick of seeing reporters dogging people who are getting an NBA contract. At the end of the day, Garrett Temple could probably school all of us at basketball.
Oh, definitely. He'd beat my ass. Like, any NBA player could beat my ass. Like,
we gotta put more respect on people like Garrett Temple. But I'd for sure say just the journeyman. Nothing astounding going on, but moving on to the other forwards, we could probably talk about Scal Labissiere.
I know a little bit about him. I didn't really watch much, like when he was at Kentucky, averaging 7.4 points a game, 4 rebounds. He's a good free throw shooter, it looks like.
He's a long basketball player. He has a lot of length in terms of his wingspan and then his ability to just stretch himself for his 2 steps on the court. His biggest issue right now is just he's not very polished offensively, especially with back to the basket situations, being able to get his jump shot looking right. But for what he doesn't have on offense, he for sure makes up defensively. This guy, for being his age, is absolutely cold defensively.
So he just needs that development on the offense, and he'll turn into a really nice player then.
Yeah, he has the potential to be cold, but there's a lot, and I mean a lot of work that has to get done offensively. Because those 7.4 points is, on the surface level, impressive. But if you look at the assets that he has and the positions where he is, he could be so much more. So I'm really interested to see how this game develops over time.
Yeah, he definitely got the length and the size. He will need to get bigger, a little bigger. Being 6'11", 225.
Signed to a really good contract right now. Pretty much $1.5 million for the next 2 years, and then they got a team option for $2 million. I'd definitely take that team option. Scal Labissiere is a project, but he's a project worth investing on. Going to the next forward that I want to talk about is my man, Bogdan Bogdanovic.
Oh, yeah, the man. They picked this man up from the Nets.
Out here getting 3-year contract right now. He's getting 9.5 this year, 9 the next year, 8.5 going into 2020.
The man's a shooter. I'll give it to him. Like, I don't know how much defense he really plays, but he can get you buckets at times. Put up 16 against Cleveland. He's averaging 10.3 points a game. He's a 36% three-point shooter, which is always nice to have one of those. Shooting 47% from the field. He's not going to really do much in the assist game or the rebound game, but if you need somebody like, you need that prototypical shooting guard who can like knock down a shot, he's your man.
He's definitely a player I would actually be really interested in trying to sign in the offseason if I was a GM, because he's long enough, he's got length to him. 6'6", which is a good size for a shooting guard. Like we said from before, he's a shooting guard who can actually shoot the ball relatively well compared to his peers. His percentages speak for himself, and we've seen him do enough work on different teams that he would definitely be somebody worth investing in. I think this guy has already established his role in an NBA team. I don't think that he's going to get any better, but this is a pretty nice ceiling to be at.
Yeah, definitely a good role player. He's getting 25 minutes, which I think if he was on a playoff contending team, like one that was up there, because I feel like you could get him for not too much. I don't see him being a 25-minute person on one of those teams, but I definitely see him being a dude who can come off the bench. He's going to be part of that second unit that will be able to control the game and be able to keep up the pace of the first unit.
For this 3-year, $27 million contract, the Kings did a really smart move. He's going to be a great asset moving forward. Then to finish stuff up, I think we should definitely talk about my guy out of Kentucky, Willie Cauley-Stein.
If they knew this man was going to be a project from the start. He's a freak of an athlete at 7 foot, 240. He's a monster on the boards and a monster on the defensive end. It's just this man had no offense whatsoever coming out of college, unfortunately.
It's still kind of ringing true to this day. He's still out here getting 11 points. Yeah, he definitely does his thing. To get at least 10 points as a forward in the NBA without a jump shot means you're doing fucking work on the glass. You're always trying to get putbacks. You're killing it on your rolls, on pick and rolls. He's a great rim roller, does his work on cleaning up the glass. Still out here getting 10 points. It can fuck around and get you a double-double easy. And you know he's going to be a difference maker defensively too. So shouts out Willie Cauley-Stein.
I think what's crazy is the man was playing football most of his life. That's why he was never able to develop these basketball skills. The man was a receiver. Like, imagine trying to guard this 6'11" dude. Like,
dang, so he really played football like that? I didn't know that. He was playing wide receiver?
Yep.
Wow.
That's one of the main reasons why this man hasn't developed the offensive game. But you give this man a few years with the NBA pros and stuff, they're going to teach this man.
Actually, we talk about Buddy Hield?
Oh, we did not talk about my man, Buddy.
Straight out of Oklahoma. Held it down his junior year of college. Came out, big hype, had that Mamba mentality, linked up with Kobe. Kobe gave him the blessing, you know what I'm saying? Came off of the trade. Was pretty much the made trade piece for the DeMarcus Cousins trade. Everybody's got high hopes for this kid.
Yeah, I would have to say one thing is I feel like our point about Frank Mason kind of ties into him. Like, he's also a senior coming out of college, going into the draft, and like he was damn near at his ceiling. I feel like he still had a little ways to go, but he was basically already at his ceiling. But one thing I do say about him is that man can shoot the damn ball, like, which I think can help him become that star that he wants to be.
His percentages right now. This season alone, he's shooting 45% from the three-point range.
He's shooting better from the three than from the field goal percentage. It's ridiculous. It might only be by 1%, but man, that's still ridiculous.
This man's three-point field goal shooting percentage is better than his regular field goal shooting percentage. And by the way, his regular shooting percentage is 44%. So this man can shoot the motherfucking ball. It's just about getting him the right opportunities. Even if he doesn't go as high as his expectations are for him, he has enough potential where you can build a system around him and he'll get buckets.
Yeah, shout out to the man. He from the Bahamas, from the islands. There, I remember when I was in the Bahamas, like they was talking about the man. He averaging 12.3 points per season. He's doing his thing. He's only in his second year. He's getting better and better.
He's got a long way to go.
Yeah, I definitely see this man being in the league for a long time. He's also one of them grinders he plays defense, he works hard, and he can shoot.
Especially now where everybody's putting up three-pointers. You want somebody who can space the floor like that. But hey, man, we talked enough about the players. Let me ask you, what are your thoughts on Dave Joerger? What do you think about Sacramento's head coach?
Honestly, I don't know nothing about this man.
He used to be the coach on the Grizzlies like last season. So when all these veteran players dipped out like Zebo, Vince Carter, Costa Kufos and all them, Joerger went pretty much with them.
Honestly, I think he's a decent coach. He just needs to get his system more in tune with the new NBA.
Playing grit and grind like he was in Memphis, I don't think will pay off as much in this league. His forwards, of course, are always fucking impeccable. This man knows how to get the most out of his forwards. I think it's about understanding guard play well enough offensively, especially with the shooters that he has. If he can learn how to use his guards properly to unlock their offensive game, they could go up to another level.
Definitely. In this NBA, like, you just need more people to space out the floor. And unfortunately, his lineup's not really helping him the most with that. Like, Zach, love the man Zebo, but he's not really a three-point shooter. Willie Cauley-Stein not really shooting. So unfortunately, like, the lineups that he's able to create in this NBA is kind of rough because, like, everybody getting spaced out. They're taking your big man out of the paint.
Now that I'm looking at the whole roster, like one step back, the main thing that's holding this whole team back is frankly shooting. Buddy Hield's the only person on this team who can really shoot the ball, like for real, for real. So if they could get their shooting in line, the Sacramento King coach can teach these guys how to shoot the ball at a much higher level. They could unlock even higher levels. They could probably be a borderline playoff team if they got that down.
Yeah, but I definitely think he's a good coach. He preaches defense and stuff. It's just right now his roster needs to develop.
I think the offseason will determine how far this team can go. If they can work on shooting, and if Dave Yoger can pretty much put all of these guys into a position where they're getting the most out of their offense, they're doing everything else right. So they could really blossom. But with that being said, we're at the end of our podcast, which means I got one question for you, Sterling. If you were the GM and you had to make moves for the next at least 3 years, what are you trying to do?
Real firm trust in the process. Right now, it looks like we're going to get a lot of repick. We don't have the best record. I'm going to hold on to that pick. I'm going to try to definitely get a nice piece in this next upcoming draft. There's a lot of talent in college basketball right now. I'm gonna make sure these guys are developing. I'm not thinking we're gonna be able to lure a superstar just yet. We're just not the most attractive place right now. But I definitely think we could grab a few pieces in the offseason, especially I don't think Vince Carter is coming back next year. Shout out to the OG though. His time might be up. He is 40 years old. That's $8 million on the books that can be used. We got cap space. I'm gonna try to get decent pieces just to surround this team, this young team, and like not really get veteran pieces, but people established, 27, 28-year-olds who know their role. It's always good to make sure you're getting people who play defense. Like I want hard workers, and really I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for the youth to grow up and mature and gain the skills that they're gonna use.
I'm with you on the idea that the youth are pretty much the only thing you really need to focus on building around. The way that I see it, Vince Carter's for sure coming off the books, and then you'll have a really, really good draft pick heading into 2018, 2019. Depending on what you're trying to do with your forwards, you might want to try to get yourself a stretch four heading into the next draft. But if it was my choice, I'll try to get one of these transcendent bigs you've been talking about so much during these podcasts for the next draft. After that, we got 2018-19. I'm pretty much just trying to let my youth build chemistry together, because at this point, you got at least one season of Buddy Hield and De'Aaron Fox playing together with all the other great guards that they got. And then by 2018-2019, with this draft pick that's had a year under his belt and all the other young guards having 2 years under their belt playing with each other, you have damn near an empty roster. The only guaranteed money you got is Bogdan Bojanovic and George Hill. Otherwise, the whole cap space is free. And I'm going to say something here that I think more teams in the league are starting to do, where if you're a small market team and you realize you're doing good enough in your rebuilding process that you have a core you want to keep, you should allow that core to have some say in the management system. So I would definitely want to see players like De'Aaron Fox trying to recruit people to come play with them from their own peer group. I'm not saying like De'Aaron Fox is going to be able to bring in some crazy max free agent like Chris Paul, LeBron James or something like that. What I am saying is De'Aaron Fox, I know for sure, has got big ups and big respect in his peer group in terms of other basketball players. And all the kids younger than him, like kids who are in high school right now, kids who are playing college right now, really fuck with De'Aaron Fox. So I feel like if he can establish his own game within this season and the next season, by the time they got that empty salary, the younger generation of players free up. De'Aaron Fox would be like, yo, come fuck with us. We got a ton of money that you could be getting. We got a great fan base. You know, my game's looking nice right now. Buddy Hield's shooting his shots. We could come do something really special, especially if they got that nice forward that they draft in 2018-19. They could be doing something really nice. So it's really predicated on building the core this season and the next season, making sure you do well with this, I would say, with your last important draft pick in the upcoming future. Because the rebuilding's kind of got to be over by next season. It's either you're back to being shitty or you did really well with that draft pick in 2018-19 that you got a young core you want to run with. So once that happens, 2019-2020, let De'Aaron Fox and these young guards come recruit for the younger generation and then go ahead and give them that money. because you ain't got nothing on the cap. And I really mean nothing on the cap. So go ahead, splurge a little bit with short-term contracts, really invest in what you're trying to build in.
Definitely like that strategy.
All right. Well, this is probably it, man. Thanks for tuning in. This was the Sacramento Kings.
Peace.
Niggas stop that pump faking. Who the fuck is you, Tom Brady? My young niggas dumb crazy. My snatch your old lady. You ain't caught nobody, nigga. You ain't shot nobody, nigga. Doing all that with we know you sheepin', we ain't scared of nobody, nigga. Mac 90 with a telescope. Y'all thinking on Periscope. Man, I thought you put the sell the dope. Then why the fuck is you filming it? Finger fucking my FNH. Baby, let's get intimate. Think like a gangster, nigga. Dress like a gentleman. Wow. Why you flexing, boy? You don't want no smoke. Why you flexing, boy? You don't want no smoke. Why you flexing, boy? You don't want no smoke. Why you flexing, boy? You don't want no smoke. Why you flexing, boy? You don't want no smoke. Why you flexing, boy? You don't want no smoke. Why you flexing, boy? You don't want no smoke. Why you flexing, boy? You don't want no shooters. They don't pose for pictures. They ain't doing no rapping, nigga. You ain't hit no licks. She ain't sold no bricks. She ain't did no trapping, nigga. These rappers so feminine. I'm hated by many men, but don't need no nigga to like me, bitch. I'm a grown man. Let me give you a gangster lesson. Cool up on Boulder Crescent. You and all them non-smokers, go to the non-smoking section. When you see them choppers blamming, fuck all that Instagramming. You would think you was Ken and Cam Newton, the way that nigga scrambling. Out of this show like you gambling, about to cause a stampede. Pussy about to leave his hoe in the club, trying to run away from me. Better have a plan B, yeah, understand me. Gucci don't buy no nigga living, don't care if you 9 feet. Wow. Why you flexing, boy? You don't want no smoke. Why you flexing, boy? You don't want no smoke. Why you flexing, boy? You don't want no smoke. Why you flexing, boy? You don't want no smoke. Why you flexing, boy? You don't want no smoke. Why you flexing, boy? You don't want no smoke. Why you flexing, boy? You don't want no smoke. Why you flexing, boy? You don't want no smoke.